Hello, welcome to a new video of Appelboom.com. My name is Joost Appelboom and today I would like to tell something in this video about the most iconic writing instrument collection out there, the Montblanc Meisterstück. As always, if this video helps you, leave us a like, and if you're interested in these fine writing instruments, visit our store in Laren or order it online in our web store at Appelboom.com. We will talk later about the box the pen comes in, the materials the pen is made of, and the different variations in this collection. After that, we dive more into the design, the details of this pen, and talk about the nib and the filling mechanisms. At the end, we also give you some specs and the comparison, but first we start with the history, because the history of a Montblanc pen, that's something amazing. The Montblanc Meisterstück. I think that this pen barely needs an introduction. Thanks to its distinctive design, functional elegance, precious materials, and the marketing department of Montblanc, this pen is the most celebrated writing instrument in the world. 9 out of 10, if there is a writing instrument used in a movie, series, or other public event, a Meisterstück is used. But where does the name come from? When was the first Meisterstück ever made? And how did it become such an icon? Well, we will answer those questions, but first let us tell us something more about the company that made this pen, Montblanc. At the beginning of the 20th century, the world was a different place. The Industrial Revolution has come to an end and had changed the world forever. Manufacturing on a large scale was become a common thing. Innovations led to many new developments and new products, including the fountain pen. In 1906, it was the Hamburg banker Alfred Nehemias and the Berlin engineer August Eberstein together who started producing simple pens together. After a short period of time, Wilhelm Ziemer, Christian Lausen and later Klaus Johannes Voss took over the business, and they laid the foundation of the company that we now know as Montblanc. The Meisterstück was first introduced in 1924 and has since been the most iconic pen in Montblanc's lineup. The term Meisterstück has its origins in the Middle Ages, when it was established that a tradesman could apply to join his guild as a master upon completion of his apprenticeship. To do so, he produced proof of his trade skill in the form of a particularly demanding piece of craftsmanship. If his Meisterstück, which is German for masterpiece, was accepted by the masters of the guild, the craftsman had the right to call himself a master. But how did this pen become so popular? Besides its outstanding quality, Montblanc was also one of the first companies that had a truly innovative approach of marketing their products. In 1926, Montblanc used fitting cards with an oversized fountain pen, as well as advertising planes with the Montblanc name on it. So, besides it is a leader in writing instruments, you can also say that Montblanc is a leader in marketing and advertising since 1926. The Meisterstück is the iconic product range of the Montblanc. The Meisterstück is the iconic product range of Montblanc. Besides the resin version, which we will show you in this video, they also started creating this model in precious metals starting from 1986. These Meisterstücks are known as the Solitaire. Later on, Montblanc used the Meisterstück model for special editions like the UNICEF collections, the Solitaire Douai, the 100th anniversary edition with the cut diamond at the top of the pen, and the more recent release of the Le Petit Prince collection, where Montblanc made the Meisterstück for the first time in a blue resin. But in this video we just talk about the timeless resin version, a lifetime companion. I can proudly say that Appelboom is an authorized Montblanc dealer since April 2004. The Montblanc Meisterstück pens comes in a luxury Montblanc gift box. All models except for the 149 come in the rectangular box. We talk later about the box of the 149, but first about the rectangular box. It has a cream colored carton sleeve around it with the Montblanc logo printed in black. If you get a box out of the sleeve, You have a beautiful black box in your hands, and also the service guide is inside this carton sleeve. At the back of the service guide you can find the guarantee certificate. Back to the black box. The box is made of a black carton with a refined texture on it. In the right corner you can find the Montblanc emblem. If you open the box, you see that the inside is completely covered in soft cream colored velvet. This is to give the pen a luxury feel and also to protect the pen from any scratches. The Montblanc logo can be found on the inside of the lid and the pen rests in the slit. Well, this was the box for all the models except for the 149. Let's now have a look at the box for the 149. The 149 used to come with an included bottle of Montblanc ink, but since 2016 Montblanc stopped with this tradition, which we find very unfortunate. To have the ink bottle inside the gift box, the box needed to be a little bit bigger. This big box is the only remaining reminder of this tradition. Besides the size, the box has the same features as the rectangular box of the other models. The Montblanc Meisterstuck collection is crafted from black precious resin, a special synthetic material, and the composition is kept as a company secret. The deep black shine of the resin is created by polishing the material over and over again. The interesting fact is that the black keeps its color and it does not affect by anything. The resin is very robust and cannot scratch easily. Of course, if you carry the Meisterstuck together with your keys in a pocket, I cannot assure you that you will have some scars afterwards. So please don't do that. I personally feel like the classic black precious resin makes it look reliable and professional. The smooth surface and shiny surface of the pen gives it a pure, stylish and classic look. It also creates a beautiful contrast with a metal clip and 3 iconic rings bearing the Montblanc emblem. The Meisterstuck collection is a very extensive collection with a lot of different sizes, writing modes and color options. I'm lucky that we only covered the timeless black resin version in this video because there are many variations on this model in the Solitaire collection. Let's first talk about the different color options of the black resin Meisterstuck. As mentioned before, the pen is made of black resin, but the big differences can be in the small details. The details of the different color combinations are in the metal that is used for the pens. The black resin can be matched with either the original yellow gold details, the later introduced platinum plated details, or the red gold details, which was introduced during the 90th anniversary of the Meisterstuck in 2016. The color of the details is a personal choice and tell most of the time something about the person to me. The yellow gold details are very classic, while the platinum version looks more modern to me and the red gold is more a fashion statement. We see the red gold jewels and watches coming up more and more, so I can totally understand that someone wants a matching pen. The Meisterstuck series can be obtained in a couple of different writing modes. It is available in the most common writing modes like a fountain pen, ballpoint pen, rollable or mechanical pencil, but also in more special writing modes like a sketch pencil that is discontinued now unfortunately, or a document marker. Now I have to say, if you mark your papers with this document marker, you are really doing it in style. I cannot come up with another brand that offers such a luxury document marker. Besides these writing modes, the Meisterstuck is available in a couple of different sizes. We divide them in the following categories. The largest pen is the 149. After that comes the Le Grand series. Then we have the Classic, and the smallest Meisterstuck is called the Mozart. The 149 size was first introduced in 1952 and only comes as a fountain pen. The number 149 is the historical model number that Montblanc gave this massive pen. The 1 is in the number 149 stands for Meisterstuck line, their number 1 line. The 4 is a reference that the pen is a piston fountain pen, and the 9 is a reference to the size of the nib, which is the largest nib Montblanc offers. Another name for the 149 is the diplomat pen, because it is often used by diplomats to sign international treaties and agreements. The 149 is the flagship pen of Montblanc, and all the other Meisterstück pens are based on this model. After the 149, the 146 is the biggest pen. The 146 was the original model number for this pen, but it would be renamed later to the Le Grand series. It is still quite a massive pen, but more useful for everyday writing. The size is comparable with the Pelikan M800, but more about the size comparison later on in the video. The Le Grand series are available as a fountain pen, rollable ballpoint pen, mechanical pencil and the document marker. If the Le Grand is too big for you, we have a more delicate size, called the Classic. The fountain pen of this size is also often referred to as the 145, as this was the original model number. The Classic is available as a fountain pen, ballpoint pen, rollable and mechanical pencil. To make it a little more difficult to understand, Montblanc decided after a lot of feedback from their clients there must be a ballpoint pen that was smaller than the Le Grand but bigger than the Classic. So they launched the mid-size ballpoint pen. This ballpoint pen is in between the Classic and Le Grand ballpoint pen in size and is currently only available with the platinum details. The smallest pen in the Meisterstück collection is the Mozart, which was introduced in 1969. This beautifully tiny masterpiece is the perfect size for a small hand and the perfect fit to carry in a handbag or organizer. The size of the pen is comparable to a lipstick. So, a quick recap about the sizes. We have the largest pen, the 149, the Le Grand, also called the 146, the 145 or Classic, and the baby brother of the collection, the Mozart. Now we have discussed all those sizes. Which size does fit you the best? Well, that is completely depending on the size of your hands and the way you prefer to hold your pen. We can only suggest one thing. If you have small hands, don't go for the massive 149 because you will regret it. If I see a person with small hands writing with such a large pen, it always reminds me a little bit of a clown with its large shoes. The same for a person with large hands. Please don't go for the Mozart because the pen will disappear in your hands and you will never find it back. The shape of the Meisterstück is as iconic as it's the name. The pen is called very often the cigar-shaped pen, and they didn't come up with this name by accident. The outline of the pen really reminds us of a cigar. It is round, smooth, no edges or unnecessary ornaments. The only ornaments found on the pen are the 3 cap rings that reminds us of the 3 founders of Montblanc. There are 2 smaller rings that are inlaid in the resin, and the 3rd ring that is in the middle comes a little bit out of the pen, and it is not too much, but it is noticeable. The middle ring is engraved with the text Montblanc and Meisterstück. If you have the 149, the model number is also mentioned on this ring. At the top of the pen you can find the iconic white star emblem of Montblanc. This emblem was implanted on the top of all the Montblanc writing instruments since 1913 and is a reference to the 6 glacier tongues of the Mount Montblanc. Montblanc is the highest mountain in Europe and it represents the highest level of craftsmanship. Another important detail on the Meisterstück is the Quo Vadis number on every Montblanc writing instrument. It can be found on the clip ring and is placed there as a means against counterfeits. Montblanc pens are the #1 counterfeited pens in the world, and unfortunately we see them very often. The clip of the Meisterstück has a decent size with a raised, rounded rectangular at the top, which travels about 1/3 of the way down the clip. The clip is very classy and simple and has a round end and a rocker ball underneath it, which helps to clip the pen into a pocket. The clip is very sturdy, so it will do its work properly. The cap system of the pen is depending on the size you want. If you prefer a screw cap, you can better go for either the 149, the Le Grand or the Mozart. Only the Classic has a snap cap. The threads of the threaded pens are not very deep, so you can hold them up there easily. It takes about 3 full turns to uncap and recap the pen. The nibs are all engraved with the Montblanc star underneath the round breather hole. You can also find the number 4810 engraved on the nib. In 1929 the number was engraved for the first time on a Meisterstück and is a reference to the heights of the mountain Mont Blanc and acts as a sign of supreme quality. Under this number you find the letter M, which stands for Mont Blanc and not the tip size, so don't get confused when you ordered a different nib size than the medium and you see that M. It is for Mont Blanc. Nibs are made of either 18 karat gold or 14 karat gold depending on the fountain pen. All nibs are handcrafted in the nib center of the Montblanc factory in Hamburg by their nib meisters. The nibs are made of either 18 karat gold or 14 karat gold depending on the fountain pen. All the nibs are handcrafted in the nib center of Montblanc in their factory in Hamburg by their nib meisters. Fun fact is that all the nib meisters working at Montblanc are all women. I don't judge, it is just a fact, probably because women are more precisely and have a very steady hand, although I know some nib meisters who are men. Well enough about that. So the nibs are handcrafted in Hamburg in 35 different stages. I had the honor to see it in person and it was really fascinating how a piece of raw material was transformed into a beautiful, well-performing nib. The nibs are tested intensively by one of the nib meisters using invisible ink. And if there is any issue with it, the nib goes back to the station where it is solved. There is a zero tolerance on this department. That is why their nibs are so fantastic. Let's go back to the different nibs. The 149 Meisterstück is using the most precious material Montblanc used for their nibs, 18 karat gold. Let's go back to the different nibs. The 149 Meisterstück is using the most precious material Montblanc used for their nibs, 18 karat gold. The 146 Le Grand, the 145 Classic and the 114 Mozart fountain pen, all using 14 karat gold nibs of Montblanc that are still pretty amazing. You probably already noticed, but also the size of the nibs are different. Well, that's correct, and it matches the size of the pen itself perfectly. As mentioned before, you can notice the size of the nib by the last number of the model. So the 149 has the largest nib, a number 9. The 146 Le Grand pen has still a pretty large nib. After that comes the 145 and the Mozart. The different nib widths that are available for the Meisterstück pens are also depending on the pen you choose. Standard, Montblanc only offers the standard nibs widths like fine, medium, broad and sometimes an extra fine or double broad. But they do have some more exotic nibs widths available through their nib exchange program, which we can arrange for you as an authorized dealer. Here you see a list of all the available nib widths for the different models. Please note the oblique triple broad nib for the 149 pens, which is pretty impressive, but takes some expertise to properly write with. Besides these nibs, there are also some specialty nibs on the market like music nibs or personalized nibs, which can be requested after a factory visit, but these are not widely available through your local Montblanc dealer. Last thing I like to mention about the nibs is that Montblanc is offering a free nib exchange within 6 weeks after purchase. So if you're unhappy with the nib you have on your pen, you can always visit your local Montblanc dealer for a nib exchange free of charge. That's what I call top-notch service. Let's talk about the different filling mechanisms. Back in the days when Montblanc first introduced their Meisterstück series, all the fountain pens come with a piston filling mechanism. But over time Montblanc changed this and now the Meisterstück series has different filling mechanisms available. If you prefer a piston filling mechanism, you can choose for the larger pens. Both the 149 and the 146 model using this type of filling mechanism. Because these pens use this system, you can also find a pretty large ink window on these pens. The ink window is near the grip section and is only visible when you have uncapped the pen. Because the ink window is pretty large, you can see in time when your ink starts to get low. A piston filling mechanism is quite simple to use. First, unscrew the piston knob at the end of the pen. After that, place the nib in the ink. Close the piston knob and leave the nib for a few seconds inside the ink to give it some time to suck up all the ink. That's it, you're now ready to write. Make sure you have some tissues ready so you can clean the nib after you did the job. If you don't like this kind of mechanism, you can choose for a safer way of filling your pen by a cartridge converter filling mechanism that is used by both the 145 or the Legrand Traveler. Montblanc has its own ink cartridges and it's not possible to use the cartridges from any other brand. The same for the converter. A different converter from another brand will not fit properly into the pen. So please don't do this. The smallest fountain pen, the Mozart, only takes the Montblanc ink cartridges. It is not possible to use a converter in this tiny pen because of the lack of space. Let's take a look at the rollable pens. The Legrand sized rollable is using a Legrand rollable refill. The classic sized rollable can use either the standard Montblanc rollable refill or the Montblanc fine liner refills. The Legrand mid-size and the classic ballpoint pens are all using the standard Montblanc ballpoint refills. The Mozart ballpoint pen uses the small D1 size Montblanc Mozart ballpoint refills. The Legrand mechanical pencil are using the pencil leads in 0.9 mm. In the classic range you have the option between the 0.7 mm or the more fragile 0.5 mm pencil leads. Please make sure you double check this before buying your pencil. The Mozart mechanical pencil are using the 0.7 mm pencil leads. As shown before, the Meisterstuck fountain pens are available in 4 different sizes. We have the 149, the Legrand, the Classic and the Mozart. If we lay them next to each other, you clearly see the differences in size. Also, uncapped, there is a large difference between these pens. And also notice the difference in size of the nib. When posted, the 149 is 166 mm. The Legrand measures 158 mm, the Classic 154 mm, and the tiny Mozart is only 118 mm. It is not only the length of the pen that are totally different, also the diameters vary from each other. We took the diameter of the barrel for references. The 149 has a diameter of 14.9 mm, the Legrand 13.2, the Classic 11.9 and the Mozart has a diameter of only 10.2 mm. Also the weight of the pens are inherent in this size. Here you see a table with all the specs. Please feel free to pause the video and take a screenshot. This was our overview of the iconic Montblanc Meisterstück collection. If you're interested in a Meisterstück after watching this video, you're welcome to make your purchase in our web store Appelboom.com. Let us know about your experience with this pen and share your thoughts and special moments using a Montblanc in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.